I'm Kim.
I'm Brad.
And we're with 626 Ohana, California. Today we're in Bullhead City, Arizona, just on a long weekend. And we were trying to figure out what we wanted to talk about. And we realized it's our 1 month YouTube anniversary. I know it's not much.
Yeah. So we're gonna just, it's one of these things that we decided to do is to go on what we've learned and different things that came up for us and things that we've researched before we even got to this point.
And it's been an interesting learning curve, and we even looked into doing some research for about 3 to 4 months before we even started filming anything. So we want to share that with anybody else that is thinking about YouTube or just starting as well.
So I think we need to start with the equipment.
Well, I think we need to talk about our planning first, because it's part of our equipment, is how we researched everything. So our planning, we started watching other vlogs, we got ideas about what we liked, what we didn't like. We looked at, what else did we look at?
Just different things for ideas of the way we wanted the videos to be put together, I guess is the way to put it. What ideas worked for us and what seemed to work for us and what wouldn't seem to work for us.
Yeah. And so one of that into planning, like Brad said, was equipment. What were we gonna film on? Okay, so the first thing you need is a camera. So we started to look at all the different cameras, especially the popular ones with vloggers. We were trying to look at our iPhones and to film from there. So we decided on the, Canon G7X.
Mark II.
Mark II. So we decided on that for a few reasons. And Brad's mostly our technical person.
From what we saw is it offered the best range of what we needed. We did try using our iPhones. We do have the iPhone XS Max, which did a good job, but it was so much easier dealing with the footage we were getting off the G7. And everybody, it just became, from watching other YouTube videos and everything else, it was the universal one that people said it's a great camera to use. But if you're just starting out and you don't want to put the money into the G7X, your iPhone would be fine.
Yeah, we just weren't as happy with the quality. So we decided to try a camera. The only thing we were disappointed in is not having an external microphone. So that would have been the only drawback that I've seen. And
there's ways around it, but we haven't learned, and so we'll try to learn more as we go along.
And then we'll share it with you. So the other thing we looked at next is what tripod we were gonna use, because with that, there were a lot of choices out there. So the first one we chose was the Joby Gorilla 500. So it's been okay. We've had some legs kind of fall off a few times. They pop right back in, but
I think for me, it's great for its flexibility for some things, but for me, I think I'd rather have a more traditional tripod to sit on. So maybe that's something we'll look at in the future.
The other thing we use is the Fan Steel ergonomic action grip. I think that's been my favorite.
Yeah, that's worked great for walking around. It's just in your hand. The Joby's work good too, but the other one is just a lot easier to make sure you have a good grip on it and you're walking around. And
it's got a strap on it as well, so I feel a little bit more secure.
It's just more comfortable to hold.
It is, and it's just, I don't know, I just like it a lot better. And they're about this, I think it was actually a little bit cheaper, so which was kind of nice. We'll put links down in our notes so that you can take a look and compare for yourself.
So the other thing we used was the grip for the iPhone.
Right.
You can find several different grips that will screw in, that will hold your iPhone. This one just seemed a little bit work good for us. But again, it's like we said earlier, that we found that filming with our iPhones was a lot harder than using the Canon. So what we found out is that one is that we need at least 2 batteries, if not more, for a day of filming. And 2 is a bigger, large memory card, which we had before, which makes it easier as well.
Well, the one thing I would also say with the iPhone, with the holders, is it takes a moment to take it out and screw it on and get it all together. So I feel like sometimes you can miss something that you want to film. I don't know, it's okay. It's a great startup. We've used it. We're okay with it. It's just not our preferred.
So the next thing we need to talk to you about is what programs we decided to use and the computer. So for me, I've always been a Windows person, and I really researched what programs to use on Windows. There's several of them out there to use that were free. I looked at them. And then there was also the Adobe Suite, which is really expensive to use. You have to pay per month for that, and I believe it's around $50 per month. I could be wrong. I'll list the right price down. So going through everything, I ended up looking at a Mac, which I haven't used the Mac myself since the Apple II days. That's how, or Apple computer. I mean, that's how old.
Okay, let's not date ourselves here.
Okay, so I looked at a Mac, and what I found from all the research and looking at it was using iMovie, and that's what we're using now. And also I was looking at possibly getting Final Cut Pro. So through all the YouTube videos I've watched how to, it's one of those things you're going to have to go through if you want to do this and see what's going to work best for you and who gives the best explanation of how to use these programs for you. Because some people get so deep into them that you get confused. Other people are trying to keep it nice and simple, and simple is a lot better when you're first starting out. So we stayed with iMovie, and we got a Mac Mini with the i5 processor in it, and it seems to do a very good job. It does everything we need to do. It is a learning curve for me, just because I'm come from Windows computers to an Apple product. And
it's been really easy for me to write the notes and descriptions on because we use our TV as our monitor, so we didn't go out and buy a new monitor. So it's been like using a computer. It's really, but we could take it with us anywhere. So if we went to Disney World, if we went somewhere else, we could be editing in our rooms at night if we wanted to. And
it's unfortunately one of the things that we forgot this weekend. So we're gonna have to do it at home.
Learning curve.
But yeah, it's small enough, important enough for us to take. We had the Magic Mouse and the Magic Keyboard, which came with it, which admittedly is more expensive, but it's just easier for us to deal with everything at one time for us. But as far as using iMovie, it's been a learning curve. I'm learning something new every time I do it, and I'm getting better and better at it. It's just, if you want to do it, it's gonna take time to learn how to do it, and just actually sitting down and do it and not being afraid of the program.
So the first thing that we learned filming was we didn't know what we were doing. We'll be honest, we're newbies here. So we went out the first weekend before we went to Disneyland to Dodger Fan Fest, and we just filmed for ourselves. And we walked around.
Yeah, we just walked around Dodger Stadium, kind of filming what we could. Obviously, the Dodgers are very sensitive to what's being filmed and what isn't being filmed. So, but it gave us a chance to try the different equipment that we had with us and see how it worked. So it just gave us a time to test it.
Yeah, and we realized that sometimes we were talking too much, not enough. It gave us, okay, well, we were shaky in a lot of points. And then we realized we were using a lot of film. But what we ended up editing for ourselves, which was really not the greatest, so we won't ever share that.
It won't ever be on it. It's just more of a practice run for us.
And I definitely recommend anybody try a dry run at an event. If you're gonna do event or travel vlogging or Disney vlogging, anything like that, give it a dry run somewhere. And then just learn to
it could be as simple as just going into your own yard and doing shots. It's, again, used to being around the camera, and how the camera works is the important thing.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, just because of the fact that sometimes it was things that we saw in shots, it was the way we shot things, the things that we said.
But if you're going to the Disney parks, you're going to want to take the time and actually to be ready to go. I'm saying is have an area to be able to test out your camera, know what you're going to be doing, what your shots are, and just practice is what it is before you go out. Because I know a lot of people don't have annual passes like we do, and they're paying every day to go to the Disney parks, and you don't want to waste that time fumbling around.
Exactly. Okay, so one of the things that we found when we were at Disneyland, we went during the rainiest season I've ever seen in Southern California. So that presented a huge problem for us several times. Is you couldn't shoot with the camera outside in the rain with the equipment getting wet.
Yeah, we ended up at that point, and I believe I have some footage, and I'll try to insert it in to show you, is we ended up using our iPhones because we know that they do have some water resistance to them with the grip, and we got some good shots, but it was a huge challenge to try to get these shots and trying to figure out what we were doing with the rain just downpouring.
And we went into stores, we tried little off locations that were covered, and a lot of times when we did things like that, we ended up having a problem with people jumping in or trying to get around, and it was really difficult, especially that was the first day we ever tried to film.
And it was a challenge on top of something that we weren't prepared for too, is the rain. It was trying to figure out what we were doing.
It was really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was, and also we had you'd be amazed at what a camera sometimes, but a lot of people will ignore you and just walk off. But you get some people that are just attracted like a moth to a flame to a camera.
And yeah, they would come around with getting to the picture, or if I one time was holding the camera and Brad was talking and people just stop and stare at you. Luckily Brad didn't notice it, but I noticed it and it was a little intimidating. So it's kind of something we're having to get over a little bit.
Yeah, and also you get people, I don't know what it is with the camera, that will do things that normally you wouldn't do anywhere else, but if there's a camera on, you're gonna be doing things. And I mean, it's been strange things we're not gonna list.
There's been some things that people have done in front of the camera behind us that we would get marked off. I'm sure YouTube would have a fit, and I'm surprised that people did this. It never made it
into our edit. We made sure we edited everything out, but there'd be things that we probably get.
Actually, we might get a lot of hits and views and likes just because it was controversial.
I wouldn't call it controversial. It just wasn't appropriate. It wouldn't be appropriate content, or people just doing oddball things.
Yeah, absolutely. But there was one that definitely crossed some lines of what could have been viewed.
Yes.
And so I was a little shocked when we went back and saw the footage, like, oh, okay.
And fortunately, Kim didn't realize it was happening at the time. And
it was during Food and Wine Festival, and it was the first bite, and it's kind of one of those things you can't recreate. So luckily, Brad had kind of seen it.
We were setting up our shot before, and I could see what was going on in the background before, and so I was able to angle. It wasn't the best background shot, but it
saved our filming.
Yes.
That's all we could say. With the other thing with people, I guess some interesting live filming is we've had people come in, jump in behind the camera, or we had people doing
yelling. I mean, literally they'll see you right there, and we were doing an intro one day, and we had a group of people yelling. They weren't yelling, nobody around us, nobody near us. We had plenty of room.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we've tried to do is find our own space, not interfere with anybody else's day or run anything for them. We try to kind of out of the way to be respectful, because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and so it's just one of those things that, it's like I said, sometimes moth to the flame. The camera is that attraction. So moving on to our next things that we've learned is that we found out after going to our first park is that we really need a list of goals of what we really want to film.
What do we want to see that day? What are we trying to share with you guys?
It's really hard not to have that and try to do a scattered shot of everything and get something out of it. But if you have that list of goals, it gives you an option to go look at everything. The other thing to look at is also, but be aware of opportunities that come up that you may not have and have the camera ready to go.
Exactly. There's things that came and made their own storylines that we hadn't planned on, or maybe there were events that we went to look at, but they just kind of took on their own personality, and that's the one biggest thing I think we've learned is you never know what to expect when you're vlogging.
And sometimes you won't even notice it until you're in editing going, oh wow, that worked out really good, that's awesome. Or the shot that you thought was gonna be the most perfect shot was one's like, yeah, that was terrible, it's not working, you're just gonna throw it out.
But it's always an adventure, so it's fun. One of the biggest things that we enjoyed or wanted to do with YouTube is we love Disney. We are huge fans of Disney traveling, and we like to meet other people. So it's been kind of fun meeting people in the parks that come up, and there's been a few people talk to us about what we're doing or why we have a camera out, why we're talking into this camera.
Or when we talk to people to do our exit.
Outros.
Our outros.
No, is that? Anyways, we have people do the Find Your Magic
for our exit on the way out. We talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people are very curious and wanting to know what's going on, and very nice, and I think it's really cool.
Actually, our food and wine video, little Jacob was in that, and when we asked them to do the outro, he just lit up, and it was precious, and I don't think I could ever forget that moment.
So it's fun. It's a fun way to meet other people and to talk to other people.
And that's one of the reasons we want to do Disney vlogging, travel vlogging, is to meet people and to expand our horizons.
Yes, so that's pretty much what we're so far at, and we're gonna be planning for our futures here. So we're gonna be doing.
Well, I don't think we want to ruin any surprises.
No, we're not gonna ruin any surprises, but we're gonna have more videos coming. And unfortunately, we had a little bit of a lull this week. We had some.
Our son ended up dislocating his thumb this week.
Not his thumb.
Oh, sorry. Okay,
yeah,
sorry. Let's start that again.
Our son ended up dislocating a finger this weekend, which took him out baseball, and it kind of threw us into a whole bunch of going and seeing doctors.
And taking care of him, because, you know, first and foremost, we are parents. So if there is something that comes up, he is our priority. He wants to be a part of these vlogs, he will, but it's not a lot of fun when he wasn't feeling the greatest.
Yeah, and unfortunately it put us into trying to do a whole bunch of different things with extra doctor's appointments. So our time that we got pushed around to, that's why we're doing this video here in Bullhead City, Arizona. So
we were going to do this at home, but then we were up here with family, and we decided to film up here because the scenery up here is much better than a wall in our home. So we decided that's the way to go.
So we'll be seeing more and more of this in the future. We will be trying to at least release weekly, if not more.
So please like and subscribe to us. Comment below if you have anything that you want to ask us about our experiences that we said that we'd be willing to share. Like we said, there is one area that's off limits that we're not going to talk about. But the other thing is, we have a really fun summer planned. Some Disney, actually probably a lot of Disney this summer. We have a lot of vlogging ahead of us. We want to share our summer plans with you and our adventures that we go on. So we hope that you'll come along with us. And the last thing I think now that we're done talking about everything, we'll show you how our home videos, vlogs like today, we set up to go with a list to kind of keep us on track. So I don't know if you could see.
Try to keep us on track.
Yeah, but I'll stand up and kind of show you guys. So we kind of went through, and we saw this helped us save some time. We kind of had an outline of what we wanted to do. So we learned that from our first home vlog when we talked about the food and wine festival tips.
So we're trying to keep it more on track than trying to keep our
scattered thoughts all over the place.
So anyways, with that, I think it's time for us to go ahead and close out.
Find your magic.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.